In just 6 weeks, San Diego voters will choose their next mayor. It's an important responsibility that I hope every citizen takes seriously. Our decision can either strengthen our city or it can destabilize us for years, maybe for decades to come. I'm here today to endorse the candidate that I think will best serve San Diego as its next mayor. I can see the suspense is killing you. So before I make that announcement, let me lead you through my thinking over the past 3 months. As you know, I endorsed another candidate in the primary election, a longtime friend who will continue to be a tireless advocate for public safety. From that tough campaign, 2 candidates emerged. At first, I was tempted to make no endorsement in the general election and let the chips fall where they may. But as I've watched the campaign unfold, I became increasingly certain that there was only one outcome that would continue the important progress and significant reforms over the past 7 years. I observed closely how the 2 candidates conducted themselves. I studied how they addressed issues. I saw how they prepared themselves for the complex challenges of leading a large city, and in my mind, it's not even close. Only one candidate is committed to the reform agenda that ended our structural deficit and has made our pension system a leader in the nation. Only one candidate understands how to work with the private sector to improve the region's economy and put people back to work. Only one candidate has demonstrated the detailed knowledge of our city that will be required from his first day on the job. And only one candidate has the focus and the energy that will sustain him through difficult times. That candidate's Carl DeMaio. Before you hear from Carl, let me remind you that Carl and I haven't always gotten along. Now, I know that's probably a mystery to most of you. You've never seen that. And there's no guarantee that we'll always agree in the future. But know this, for the past 4 years, Carl and I have been in the same boat, rowing toward the same shore, one where lasting fiscal stability is built on a prosperous economy. On occasion, we may have disagreed on the direction or who was sitting where in the boat, but I've never doubted his commitment to reform or his commitment to the city. Carl is passionate about the issues, and he has a track record of bipartisan collaboration, and I believe firmly that he cares about our future. I'm proud to endorse him today and to urge my fellow San Diegans to make him the next mayor of San Diego. Carl?
Well, I am absolutely humbled and appreciative that Mayor Sanders is supporting my candidacy. He has been a remarkable mayor for San Diego, and I absolutely believe he will go down in the history books as one of our best mayors. Mayor Sanders took over during one of the most troubled times in our city's history. And as our good friend Bonnie Dumanis put it during the campaign in the primary, he ran into a burning building with one arm tied behind his back. And for the past 7 years, he's put out fires. He's helped put us back on a path of fiscal recovery and economic prosperity. And that is why I am absolutely pleased and grateful to have his support in leading our city forward. Mayor Sanders and I care deeply about this city. We believe that our city's problems, all of our problems, can be solved through balanced solutions, by listening to all sides, by bringing all sides together. Put simply, there's not a Democrat or a Republican way to fill a pothole or respond to a 911 call. That's been the bipartisan approach to leadership that Mayor Sanders has exhibited for 7 years, and that is the same exact bipartisan style and approach that I will have in my administration. I've watched Mayor Sanders over the past 7 years, and I've learned a lot. This is someone who can walk into a room, make people feel at ease, draw people out for their best ideas, and then build consensus. I will continue to rely on his advice and counsel in the coming years. I appreciate his support today. I look forward to working with him in the remaining days of his administration to help accomplish his goals, as well as build on his legacy, build on the strong foundation that he has built here in the past 7 years as we move San Diego forward to a prosperous, healthy, stronger future.
Thanks, Carl. Thank you, Carl. Can I answer questions? Well, you can't be that shocked, Katie.
I don't think. I mean, obviously, everyone's going to ask you about the infamous press conference for May 23rd, when you had some less than kind words for Mr. DeMaio. How do you reconcile those two events?
Well, you know, this is a serious business. We make serious decisions every day, and we don't always agree on that. And I don't think you're going to find two politicians who agree on everything. And Carl and I have disagreed over several things. We've also agreed over several things. And I think the easiest thing for me to do would have been to stay out of this race. But I've spent 33 years in city employment, 26 with the police department, 7 with the mayor's office. And I love this city too much just to sit it out because it would be the easiest thing for me. I think Carl is somebody who I believe will carry on what we've started with reform, who will carry on what we started with financial stability, who will do that good job over the next 8 years that we need to make sure this city can sustain itself as we move into the future. So as I said, it would be easier to stay out, but I just didn't feel comfortable in doing that, knowing how high the stakes are.
What do you say to skeptics who say that you're bowing to party pressure, that you personally probably would have preferred to stay out, but that you're doing this for political reasons?
Well, you know, I guess that how I can answer that is the Republican Party's not always happy with me. They weren't happy when I came out and supported gay marriage. And I've come out on positions that I felt were important. I also came out for a half-cent sales tax. Neither one of those endeared me to the party, but they have firmly remained behind me as I've done things. I'm doing what I think is right. I'm not running for any other office. I have no career in politics after 68 days from today. So I'm not looking to curry favor with anybody. Once again, this is a city that has sustained myself and my family, put my daughters through college, allowed us to buy a house, and I'm simply not just going to give that up without doing my best to help select somebody who I think will be a great mayor and who will push us forward into the future.
Carl's opponent says that you were pushed into this by some of the poll results that specifically came out today. Can you address that?
Did you ask me or what?
Yeah, that would be you.
Well, I haven't seen any poll results. I've seen the USA Today poll, whichever poll that is that Channel 10 uses, which whenever I was in that, I knew it was notoriously inaccurate. Of course, when I was on top of it, I knew that it was very accurate. But that's the only one that I've seen, and that's not a scientific poll. That's a push-button poll.
Sir, Mayor?
Yes,
Sir,
Gene?
To what extent will you be active, proactive in campaigning, making appearances? There was some talk that during the primary, District Attorney DeManis didn't get a whole lot of your time, maybe as much as you could have used.
Well, that's funny. I thought that I put a tremendous amount of time in, so I do find that unusual. Once I get in for a candidate, then I think it's important to put in the time that we need to make sure that happens.
Mr. Mayor,
Jeff?
you changed your stance on gay marriage after talking to your daughter. Did you confer with your daughter before making this endorsement?
You know, I've talked to my daughter a couple of times. I've talked to all 3 of them, or 2.5, or whatever. And they understand exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So they've all said that they love me and they support what I'm doing.
Pardon me, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. It's an important day today. What led you to make your decision today to support Carl DeMaio?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure which press outlet you're from.
I'm just a citizen.
Oh, okay. I have gone through what's been accomplished, what we hope to accomplish in the future. I think about Prop B, I think of the implementation there. I think about managed competition, I think about all those things, and I think Carl DeMaio is the only one who can push those forward with the results we need. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, how many times in the past year would you estimate you've sat down and talked with Carl over issues?
We talk frequently at closed session, before and after. Carl and I don't have lunch together. We're not in a bridge club together. I respect Carl, but I like beer. So, I mean, I think that, you know, I don't think that we have to be best buddies. I think what we have to do is have that mutual respect, and that's what I have.
You think he still takes credit for your weight loss?
You know, I hope so, because a lot of people should take some credit for it.
Carl, that you now think that Mayor Sanders will go down as one of the greatest mayors the city's ever had. How do you reconcile that with your statement that you have never voted for his budgets because they're illegitimate?
Well, at the end of the day, I think the mayor and I both agree on reform, and we've worked together collaboratively to achieve that. And take a look at where San Diego is today. While other cities are declaring bankruptcy, and we open the paper every day and we find about more financial problems facing the state, facing the federal government, facing other localities, San Diego, which many predicted a few years ago would be going bankrupt, no, we're on the move. We're moving forward. And that's because we've all worked together, and we've made progress in the budget. We've also made progress at the ballot box with managed competition and with our historic landmark pension reform initiative.
Do you still think his budgets were illegitimate?
I think his budgets have provided a firm foundation for us to finish the job of fiscal reform. I mean, what we've been able to do is stabilize our services in the city. We've restored some services this year. We're now starting to tackle the important issue of infrastructure and deferred maintenance. And we are only going to kick it higher and higher each year to look for savings every single year, as the mayor has done, to continue to restore services, to continue on the trajectory that the mayor has put us on.
So do you regret those votes against his budgets?
I do not.
Jerry,
Dave.
you've been asked about the Republican Party and its influence on your decision today. I'd like to broaden that out a little bit and ask you if you can talk about anybody who has your ear, who might have urged you to make this endorsement. In other words, Jerry, who got to you?
Well, I know this is going to sound shocking, Dave, but I actually do make up my own mind once in a while. As I said, it would have been easier, by all accounts, to stay out of this race. But I don't think that's responsible, and I didn't feel comfortable about doing that. And I don't want to see us driven over a cliff after having come back so far from that. And as Carl said, we've made important strides in our budget and in all those things, but we've still got tremendous infrastructure problems to work on, and I see that as coming in the next several years, and I feel very good about that. I'm going to live in this community the rest of my life.
Were there people who came to you and asked you to make this endorsement?
Well, there were obviously people who came to me, and there were people who came to me from the other side also. So it's not unlike any other political decision I make. Everybody comes at you from all sides. You sift through it and do what you feel best about.
Can you name some names?
No. Katie?
What do you say to people who say this is not so much about supporting Carl DeMaio, but making sure Bob Filner isn't elected so that he can't undo some of your legacy projects, like the convention center, like Balboa Park?
Well, first of all, I don't have any legacy projects. That's up to other people to decide that. That's not the reason we're doing those. Secondly, this is about somebody who's going to continue reform. So, I don't have any control over the other candidate. That's simply not what I'm doing. I'm simply saying if people ask my opinion, and I'm giving that opinion to everybody in San Diego right now, I believe Carl DeMaio is the best person to take us forward into the future. Gene?
What advice do you have for Carl, given the fact that you know to the day, maybe the hour and the minute when you leave this office?
That it's going to be a long 8 years, Carl. This job is, people ask me every day, are you having a great time? And every day I tell them that's not what this job's about. This job is really tough work. It's tough sledding. It's very rewarding when you see things come together, and we've had so many people who have worked together, so many people from throughout the San Diego community. So I'll feel really good when I'm done. But this is really a difficult job, and there's going to be a lot of sleepless nights, and I think Carl understands that already from watching and from being a part of that. And I think the other part of it is you've got to work with the council and put together 5 votes for anything you think is important. So that's one of the things that I think about every day, all day.
Carl, there actually is a 10-year poll out today, and it is scientific when you talk to registered voters who are likely to vote. And it shows that Bob Filner has expanded his lead by 6 points since the last poll. How do you think Mayor Sanders' endorsement will help you convince voters to vote?
Well, I've always said the same thing every time someone asks me about a poll, and that is we're going to continue to get our message out to San Diegans that unites San Diegans for reform and economic prosperity. I don't pay too much attention to public polls. We have our own internal polls that show that it's a very tight race. I'm just so thrilled that we have Mayor Sanders and so many other San Diegans from all different perspectives, all different political parties, and many of whom we've not always agreed on every single issue, coming together for the good of San Diego, because they know that we need to finish the job of fiscal reform. They know that we need to have economic prosperity, that we need to have a style and approach in the mayor's office that unites rather than divides. And I've listened to their ideas, their input, and I want to build an administration that reflects all faces in San Diego, all perspectives, because that's how we're going to get the best policy. That's the approach that Mayor Sanders has taken for the past 7 years. It's been very successful, and I've watched carefully. The role of a council member is different than the role of the mayor, and I think he's done a great job bringing people together, listening to all sides, working across party lines, and developing balanced solutions to move San Diego forward on every issue that's come up. And that's the same sort of leadership that I intend to emulate in my administration.
Carl, to follow up on an earlier question, in his opening remarks, the mayor said that the structural budget deficit had ended. Do you believe that that's the case?
I think certainly when it comes to services, we've been able to stabilize at the current service levels, but the mayor and I share a commitment to expand service levels, to restore services like after-school programs, police and fire positions with the 5-year police staffing plan. That will require resources, and that means that we have to continue fiscal reform. And as the mayor noted, we still have major challenges in infrastructure, streets and sidewalks that are still not in the best condition. And that's why we need to continue fiscal reform. We need to implement pension reform and manage competition and other ways of becoming more efficient in every city department. With every dollar we save, those dollars can go back to rebuilding infrastructure and restoring those services.
So no yes or no on that?
Well, you can have a balanced budget that still doesn't reflect the sort of services that we'd like to see. And so we are being thoughtful, we are being balanced, and we are trying to be sustainable. And that requires additional fiscal reform to restore services, to hire more police officers, and to repave more roads.
Mr. DeMaio, at the same time, your largest fiscal reform, Prop B, is estimated now will add at least about $30 million onto the budget next year. What's your response to that?
Well, I believe that we have a consensus in San Diego that the pension benefits that prior politicians granted needed to be reformed, that they were not sustainable. And voters overwhelmingly approved Prop B. And I think it's going to be a lasting legacy to Mayor Sanders that has really made a model out of San Diego nationwide. These are important reforms for us to implement. They will save hundreds of millions of dollars in the immediate term, billions of dollars over the life of the program.
And just a second, Katie. I think that's an excellent question that you had, and that's an excellent reason why Prop B was so important. And that's because returns on investment, all those things no longer will impact the investment or will impact the unfunded liability in the future, because we'll be putting new people into a 401k. And that short term, for the first 2 years of an increased payment, will go down dramatically until it saves over $1 billion in the next 30 years. And we will be leaving with the budget intact to be able to cover at least the first year and maybe the first 2 years payment on that before it goes down. So we're not going to be leaving, Carl, when he takes office with a budget deficit, we'll be leaving the correct money set aside for that pension payment. Thank you very much. We do.